Hey. I was thinking, and so I wanted to come on here and share my thoughts with you. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video today with everything that's going on. Hurricane Milton was devastating. I stayed up late last night watching it hit landfall. I woke up early this morning to see the devastation. I've heard from people who have homes down there in Florida that people in their communities have perished because of tornadoes. It's a lot of people who are affected. And so I didn't know if I would be insensitive coming on talking about my cancer journey. As you may know, I am planning to share my journey throughout this month. When I looked to see what I was going to talk about today, it was confirmation that I need to share. The title for the chapter today that I was going to read from is called I'm Choosing Faith. When I was diagnosed with cancer, it took about 3 weeks before I saw any physician. It was 3 weeks of not knowing if I was going to live, if I was going to die, how aggressive the cancer was, if it was fast growing or not. I didn't know anything. And I had to learn patience during that time. But it was challenging. It was a lot of sleepless nights. It was a lot of tears. But I wanted to share something that I had written in my book in regards to that. Of course, this was a difficult time for me. I wasn't sure what was to come. Was I going to live? If so, how would my life be after surviving this disease? I didn't know the answers. I just knew I had to put my faith in God and trust Him during this time. I am reminded of a quotation by the author Steve Maraboli. Don't give up. It's not over. The universe is balanced. Every setback bears with it the seeds of a comeback. Being diagnosed with cancer was just a temporary setback. It was to prepare me for my comeback. I wasn't sure what my comeback was, but I was going to give my all during the battle. I would not just survive it, but I would thrive afterward. I was not going to count myself out just yet. Israel Houghton, a gospel musician, has a song called It's Not Over. The lyrics of the song is a reminder that it's not over when God is in it. The it can be whatever situation you face. Mine just happened to be cancer. As we know, God has the final say in every situation. We will all face adversities at some point in our lives, and we will have to confront them head on. During that time, we must learn to embrace the storms and trust that they are for our good in the end. They will come to teach us and to make us more resilient. In the Bible, there were several instances where it wasn't over. One of the stories that I share is that of King Nebuchadnezzar and the 3 Hebrew boys, when he had ordered them to worship his golden image, and they refused. And so he threw them in a fiery furnace. And he ordered that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual. When he threw them in there, they were not consumed. The king stood up and said, or asked, weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire? Look, I see 4 men walking around the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looked like the son of the gods. The king called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out of the fire, and they emerged unharmed, not even with the hair on their heads being singed or the smell of smoke in their clothing. Although they were put in the fiery furnace, they were not consumed. It wasn't over. Lazarus had been dead in the tomb for 4 days. His sister Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask. Jesus told her that your brother will rise again. Martha answered that she knew he would rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whosoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Martha called to her sister Mary and told her Jesus was looking for her. After seeing Mary weeping over the death of Lazarus, Jesus was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. He asked where they had laid Lazarus. Jesus asked for them to remove the stone where he was buried and called for Lazarus to raise from the dead. It wasn't over. Jesus was crucified, buried, and rose again with all power in his hands. It wasn't over. Sometimes we are so quick to place a period where God has only placed a comma. We may think it is the end, but God is only intending for it to be a pause. We should never discount who God is in our lives and what he can do. Unfortunately, fortunately, we don't know his plan for us, but his plans are always better than the ones we create. We have to keep trusting his word and realize that he has the final say. In reading his word, we have so many promises that we can stand on. He promises us that I will never leave you nor forsake you. I believe in his word and I will continue to trust him. It's not over until God says it's over. As I was reading that, I was reminded of something that I got caught up in yesterday on TikTok. I don't know how to use TikTok. I normally use it, or I mostly use it for DJs. I love waking up listening to certain people play gospel music, and then I'll go to bed listening to some people playing music. So I don't play with it often, but there's this one area that when I turn it on, it shows me people that I don't know. And I happened to run across someone talking to Lieutenant Dan down in Tampa. I don't know his story, but he's someone who lives on a boat. He's missing a leg. He walks with crutches. But he was determined to stay on his boat during this hurricane. He stayed on it during Hurricane Helene a couple of weeks ago, and he was going to ride this one out on his little boat as well. The police came and told them that he had to evacuate. And they said they will be back tomorrow, which would have been yesterday, and he had to go. They went back. He wouldn't leave. People offered him their homes, money, hotels, everything to get him out of that water. Because as we know, they were going to get hit in Tampa, or they got hit in Tampa. I was so invested in the story, praying that God spared him, because I don't know how you can survive in that little boat. I mean, it was not a big boat. I know they had a GoFundMe for him to raise money so that he could get another boat, because that one wasn't even working. He tied the boat up next to a pier. And last night, it was misinformation. People kept saying he was removed and put somewhere safely. And I saw a guy who actually had a video of him in his boat covered up. And my heart ached because he was at peace. He said God told him to stay there. And he was at peace with whatever happened, whether he made it out alive or not. He was okay. This morning, he was the first person I searched because I needed to know what happened to Lieutenant Dan. And he survived. He made it through somehow. But was it somehow? And I thought that this chapter and what I read about it's not over, when God's in it, it was a reminder that it's not over until God says it's over. Whatever adversity you're facing, whether you're someone who's affected by the storm, whether you're dealing with a health challenge or any other adversity, choose faith. Believe that God got you. And again, you can't hold on to faith and fear at the same time. So just choose wisely. And pray and for the people in Florida, give what you can give to help them out because there's so many lives that are destroyed. I'm still waiting to hear back from people who I know that's down there, have family down there, have friends that are down there. It's just devastating. I am a person who is fascinated by hurricanes. I don't know why. I don't know where this came from, but I'm the person that will stay up in the middle of the night to see it hit landfall if I have to. Like, it's just something about the power of the water, the wind. Like, I know it's devastating. I know there's going to be destruction, but I'm just one of those people who is glued to the TV. I don't ever want to experience it personally, but I do believe in another life I may have been a storm chaser because for some reason I am energized when I see them. But the part of it that hurts my heart is what comes after the hurricane hits. Because there are people whose lives will never be the same. I don't even know the death toll. I mean, they don't know the death toll, right? We really haven't had an opportunity to see all the devastation yet. I don't even know if it's gone off our, into the water again. It still may be in Florida. But just continue to pray for those people. Help them however you can. All righty. Thank you for listening. Bye.